This program is brought to you by the City of Fountains Coaches Association.
We have the head football coach and AD at Elizabeth City University. Who do we have here?
Okay, I'm Anthony Jones. I'm the head football coach of Elizabeth City State University. I do the regular athletics. I don't want to get in trouble.
Hey, all right. Hey, coach, you the head coordinator? The offensive coordinator?
I am the coordinator as well.
All right. And then we have the director of operations with the City of Fountain Coaches Association, which I mentioned to you off camera. Coach Ryan Glasgow. He wears about 5 hats. He's the AD for Lincoln Prep University, one of the top academic universities in the country.
High school.
All right. Well,
high school, not universities. High school.
Well, Nelson, he's been around the corner so many times, his brain goes soft sometimes. And he's the head basketball coach there. Hey, coach, the ball is in your court now.
Coach Jones, man. First of all, thanks for joining us today. I'm sure you are like many football coaches, and like our own is chomping at the bit to figure out whether this COVID thing is going to interrupt your season or not. So we'll start with that, Coach. How you feeling with your upcoming season? How you feeling about how COVID's worked out for you and your guys, recruiting wise, and just overall as a program? Where are you at right now?
Hold 1 minute, hey, Coach. I didn't give you the same intro that we normally do. Give a quick rundown before you answer his question. When the first time you felt in love with the sport, and as you told me, you've been around the corner. Give the props to some of the coaches that and mentors that help you rise to the status that you have to build your skill set. If you can do that as briefly as possible, and then get into that so that our student athletes as well as other coaches can get to know a little bit about who you are.
Okay, I fell in love with football as a youngster. My father, who passed away when I was 10 years old, he kind of introduced it to me when I was about 5 or 6 years old, and he taught me how to run because my father was pretty good size, and when he would come after me, he would scare me, so I would run from him. So I fell in love with football back then. But where I grew up in Baltimore, in the projects where we didn't have a lot of access to football, so we played a lot of street ball. And when you play a lot of street ball, there's not a lot of rules involved. The main rule is survival. And so that taught me a lot about football and how to really survive, if you will, and make my way through it. So as I grew up, I played high school ball, and probably the first man in football that really, I have to give my high school coach, Roger Rent, some credit as well, but my true mentor, the guy that came along, was a guy by the name of Willie Jeffries. I'm sure you've heard that name before. He was a long-time head football coach at South Carolina State University. At that time, it was South Carolina State College. When I was at University of Maryland, they dropped football. He came and recruited me. I went to Wichita State University under him. He was the first black coach to coach at a majority university or institution. And so I learned a lot from him. I learned about football, I learned about life, I learned about how to treat people, how to respect people, and because that's what he always did. And to this day, the thing that he has taught us, we got all this spread out all over the country, hundreds of guys who played under him, and they all have the same attitude and admiration of him. He's a man who treated us like we were his children, and taught us about life. We also learned about football, don't get me wrong, but we learned about life. And we're still carrying these lessons. A lot of us are still in contact with one another. He coached a lot of guys who went on to play in the NFL. I was blessed to be one of those guys as well.
Where'd you play at?
I played with the Washington Redskins in the 80s, and also I was a member of the Super Bowl 22. Doug Williams was my roommate the night before the Super Bowl. So I've seen a lot of different perspectives. I played with Doug Williams, the first African-American or black quarterback to play in the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl and win MVP. Him and I were roommates the night before. We had some interesting talk before that, but not a lot of talking. And under the leadership of Joe Gibbs, Joe Gibbs was an extension of that. What Joe Gibbs taught me was learn all about everything. Don't learn just your role. A lot of people, when they learn how to play football, they learn how to do their job. If you're a tight end, what does the tight end do? Joe Gibbs taught me the importance of understanding everything, so you can understand the play, so you know the angles that you're supposed to block. You know the angle, the routes, why you run the route, the way you run the route, things of that sort. So he taught me the holistic approach to football. And the one thing that I really admired about Joe Gibbs, we all played under him, but we weren't the black players, the white players. We were just his players. And so what I tried to do was take something from everybody I learned something from and formulated my own style of coaching, if you will. And my style of coaching is simple. Football is an amazing sport that we have. And what we can do, if you learn how to get kids' attention through football, you can teach them about life. And the football lessons are going to end. The life lessons will continue long after your skills diminish and things of that sort. So that's what I try to do. And my main goal is to help young men to develop into quality student athletes who can take those lessons and apply them to, if you will, anything in life. That's what I was taught. And I'm still applying those lessons. The number one lesson I learned is always continue to learn. Sometimes we get some places in life and we think we've arrived because we've been there, and we think we know everything. And once you cease to learn, you cease to grow. And so anybody that knows me, they always see me doodling around trying to come up with ideas that can affect different people, because as you go through this, like I said, I've been around for a long time. You get different guys from different attitudes from different places. They learn how to do things different ways. And my goal as a teacher, which is what I am, I teach football and life, is try to relate to them in a manner that they can be related to. And so that's how I keep growing as a person, as a coach. And that way I can continue to help people. I always said, when I cease to learn, I think I know everything. It's time for me to move on. And I don't feel that time is coming.
Hey, Coach, the road to success is always under construction.
That's a great one as well. Yes, that's right.
Now, Coach Glasgow, you want to repeat what you wanted him to do, or Coach, do you remember what Coach Glasgow said?
Actually, now that I know the man played with Doug Smith, I got a different question.
Doug Williams.
Doug Williams. Sorry about that. With everything that's going on today, when you guys were playing, a quarterback like at that caliber, you know, we see a Colin Kaepernick situation. What do you think the reaction of your generation of players would have been to a situation like a Colin Kaepernick situation?
Well, you know, I don't know how I can talk about that one, but I'll use this as an example. Back in the 86 season, we were coming off a strike year. And our group stayed together. Everybody else crossing the line, the strike line, picket line. We didn't. We held out, the team that was the longest. We held out. We stayed together. The other players played, and then some of those players that played ended up joining us as the season went on. Now, that's one of the things that Coach Gibbs did. He understood the importance of us being together, staying together. So when all the players stayed away from on strike, he didn't force us to come back. He didn't try to force our hand to come back. So once the strike was over, we all came back. But then he did something that was interesting as well. Some of the guys they referred to as scabs that he felt were good enough to play. He brought them over to us. And because of our trust in him, I'm not going to say at the time we all didn't like it, but we trusted him and we welcomed him as members of our football team. So it's kind of like the same thing that's kind of going on now. You got guys and that are trying to make this something that it's not. Okay, this thing started with Kaepernick a long time ago, but it's been started with the country even longer. And this, yes, all lives matter. We understand that. Okay, but all lives are not threatened every time there's an incident, or majority of the time there's an incident. Some people see the color and fear it, and already make a perception as to how this thing is going to end. And that's the unfortunate part. We all been a part of that. When I was a kid, I grew in Baltimore. At the age of 13 or 14, I was running home because that's all I could do was run. I didn't have a car. Every time I got a bike, somebody stole it from me. So I would run home. And there was a scene in Boys in the Hood where Cuban Gooding was pulled over by the police and he pulled him out and put a gun to his head. Okay? That happened to me when I was about 13 or 14 years old. And the thing that I remember is the police dog that was in the car barking. It looked like he had teeth the size of my arm. The thing just looked huge. And all I could think of was him letting that dog loose on me. And he asked me, where am I going? I said, I'm going home. He said, why are you running? I said, I always run. I'm an athlete. I always run. And he said, very colorfully, he said, I fit a description of someone who robbed somebody. Those are that one, and I fear for my life. So he eventually let me go. And the only thing when he let me go, I was going to sick the dog with me. So I ran, and I knew there was a fence around the corner, and if I climbed this fence, that dog couldn't get me. Once I got to that, now, I held that in for a long time. Because there was no point in telling nobody that, because I'm sure I wasn't the only one who experienced something like that. So when you start talking about this, it's like I told my wife, how can I relate to you being pregnant when that's an experience I will never have? So when people talk on this, who never had this experience, they have no idea where we're coming from. Now, just the other night, 2 nights ago, my son got in a wreck. State trooper came. He was pleasant. He was professional. He was excellent. And I told him, you got me 2:30 in the morning. I'm coming out there. My son is already out there. And then I come out there, and we're both big. We're both way bigger than him. But that didn't play a role. And he was very professional. Of course, we were professional to him as well. Yes, sir, no, sir, whatever. But he did, in my opinion, everything the right way. So we're not saying all cops, this applies to all cops. But when you protect them, the bad ones, one way or the other, you're complicit. Just like as a coach, this is a profession. Our profession is to help guys to get someplace in life that they can't get to by themselves. We ought to help them. Keyword is help them, okay? Now, if we have a few coaches who are doing it the wrong way, hitting guys, abusing guys, cheating, things of that sort, those guys got to be weeded out because they're giving the profession a bad name. Don't mean the profession is bad. It means those guys are doing the wrong thing. So they're wrong. I can't stand by that. So what Colin was saying is there are some bad cops out there that when they kill for no reason, they need to be prosecuted. Everything else you do, there's a consequence. There's an action, there's a consequence related to that. There was none. There was no accountability. So they can do it. They can say one thing, I fear for my life, and everything is everything. And that's a horrible feeling for a man to have when he has a family. I grew up, my father died when I was 10 years old. That was difficult for me to grow up without a father. I was very fortunate I had some other quality, my godfather who stepped in and was like my father, my coaches who were like my father. I was very blessed to have people in my life like that saw me going down the wrong road and say, hey, that's not what you want to do. Okay, and the Lord protected me.
Right.
And so when those things happen, you have a chance, but everybody don't have that chance. So, what he was saying, he wasn't saying about all police officers, but the bad ones who are doing these things and have a record of doing these things, and even if it's the first time, that's one too many. We got to see that, and we got to recognize that, and there has to be consequences involved in that, just like everything else.
Right. Okay, Coach. Some great insight to it, man. I think a lot of us think in those same terms. We are raising young men and helping raise young men and to lead us as we go forward. I tell my players that are 15, 16, 17 years old all the time that, you have to find examples of people that you want to mirror yourself after, and you have to develop ways that you can make change from the inside of, that environment. You have kids that they go from us in high school. We try to prepare them as best we can. And then we connect with guys like yourself that we know when they get to you, that's going to continue and then of course even increase to an even higher level than what we could have done. What is your process with, your football team as far as recruiting? We'll have guys that'll watch this that are in that age group that, this may be the level that they should be going to and where they should be going to play. So give us a little insight on how you recruit, what type of, environment that is for your guys when they step on campus, and what it's like there for them, overall as a student athlete.
Well, of course, we want quality student athletes, guys that can play and that we can develop, of course. But here's the number one quality that I look at as a young man. This is my philosophy, okay? Respect. Because here's the bottom line. He's not going to be around me 24/7. He's going to be around me a lot, but he's going to have to go someplace and be around people and make his own decisions. That's going to have a tremendous effect on his life, okay? So I always start out with respect. And see, you don't have to see me. I don't have to see you to respect you, okay? I can respect your foundation. I can respect, and I look at it like this. Respect starts on how you want to be treated, or how you want your father or your mother or your sister, whatever, to be treated. And if you can carry that with you everywhere you go, then chances are you'll have a chance to be successful, okay? So that's the number one thing I look for. And it's just the simple things like, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Manners, okay? That's the foundation. We're not obligated. These are privileges that you have. It's not, I may think of it as a part of my obligation, but everybody don't feel that way. So if you start, and if you look at a lot of these things, and Kaepernick did it. He was respectful the whole process. He went to a veteran and asked him his opinion on it, and the guy gave it to him. And he never did it violently. And see, and that's the part that really kind of disturbs me. He was very professional with it. He was respectful with it. You know, when you have things going on in life and things are going to happen, you don't have to I can disagree with you, but I don't have to be disrespectful to you.
Right.
So if we can start off and keep it respectful the whole time, then maybe, just maybe, you'll actually hear what I'm trying to say, or vice versa. But if we approach each other with disrespect, you're not going to hear what I'm saying, because you're going to always be defending your action, even though you may be 100% wrong. But you're going to always be trying to defend your action because you're not trying to hear the other side, or the side that don't apply to you. And that's what this was about. This had nothing to do, again, with the flag, okay? But it was, I think the thing that it had to do with the flag is that it would draw attention. And that's the platform that he chose to use it. But it, you know,
But then, of course, our media takes that and spins it and makes it, you know, I mean, and pushes the rhetoric that it was about disrespect. You know.
Well, I think parts of media did that, but also I think people who were in power did it as well.
Right. Absolutely.
They expressed their view on it without hearing the other view. You can't talk about my view unless you are willing to walk in my shoes. You can't, you know, I'll use the example of my wife. I can't tell her how tough it was to born a child. I can't tell her that. I can't talk about the changes her body went through and things of that sort. I can't do that because I have no idea. So I'm not an expert on that. So if she tells me something, I got to listen. And I got to be compassionate when I listen, because that was real to her.
Right.
You know, this is real to me because I've lived through this. Look, we don't think everybody is against us. There are some quality people out there, black, white, Asian, whatever. But there are some bad people out there along those same lines. And just because you have a certain complexion, or you look a certain way, or you do a certain thing, don't make you always right and don't make you always wrong. And so the number one thing we can do is listen, because when you listen, you learn. When you talk, you already got an opinion on it. So I want to recruit guys that are eager. I hear people say all the time, I love football, I love football, I love football. You may love the results of football, but football, as in life, is hard. Life is hard, you know, and because every day you don't know what it's going to bring. You don't know what it's going to bring. You honestly don't, regardless of what you do. You know, you think about like this. How many great athletes who played in the NFL, I'm just going to use the NFL because that's my sport, who played in the NFL, okay, who never had a chance to play in a Super Bowl, who never had a chance to win a Super Bowl, but they were great players. They made all pro all these years and all this, but they never were fortunate enough to experience that, okay? How many of them, like myself, played in the NFL, who got hurt and careers got cut short? That's part of life. But you don't go back and say, I was cheated. You take the best of it and try to move forward. And, you know, it doesn't mean you're not successful. You had some bumps, some bumps in the road that you had to deal with. Now you had to move on. You had to make some adjustments, and then you had to move on. But there's a lot of things going on in this country, and it's starting to take kind of a head, or come to a head, if you will, because people are tired.
Yep. So what are your recruitment leads for the next? What are you looking at? What pieces you need, Coach?
Well,
a couple years.
With us, we're always going to be looking at offensive line.
O-line.
I know a lot of folks, you know, they want the glamour positions, but
you want them trenches though. Y'all looking for them trenches.
You got to take care of the trenches, because without the trenches, you have nothing. You can't run the ball. You can't throw the ball. You can't stop the run. you can't rush the quarterback. So if you don't have guys in the trenches that can get the job done, everything else is just kind of showboating. You look good on 7-on-7, but when the game rolls around, when you start playing football, it don't look all that good. So we got to have guys down in the trenches. We always look for that. And then, of course, skill positions are important as well. Don't get me wrong, but they're important. But those guys, you have the tendency to be able to develop more. But you know, when you're dealing in the trench, you gotta have number one thing, you gotta have the attitude. Those guys gotta come to work, because in the trenches, they hit every down.
Yep.
Every down.
Yep.
Okay. Even when they're not trying to hit, they're gonna get hit.
Right.
But the other guys, so the attitude gotta be right. Then their body's gotta be right. They gotta be conditioned where they can take that and ditch out that punishment throughout the course of a game, throughout the course of a season. And then, of course, size will help. It's not always a determining factor, but size will help. So we always look for
scholarships for 2021. You got how many you got, Coach? I might be able to send you some guys from down here, Lincoln, high academic kids.
Well, what we are, you know, and one of the things we talked about is, you know, we are what I refer to as a limited resource institution. We do have scholarships, but they will be partial scholarships, and we try to get them in, get them early so they can get part of our financial aid package, because I think about 85% of our students are on some kind of financial aid package. But we do have some scholarship money available. We'll have them for 21. We'll have them 20. We're tapped. You know, we're getting ready to start. But 21, we'll have some scholarships available. We look at pretty much every year, we look at all positions. Now, we may only look at 2 or 3 defensive backs one year because we're loaded there, but we look at them pretty much every year. Kickers, place kickers, punters, we will look at all those, everything. So whatever you got, we'll take a look at and see if we can fit them into our program. And if we can, they like what we have to offer, we want to sign with us. But also understand that we're at a great academic institution. And you have to say that every now and then, because all academic institutions are not created equal. So a young man comes to school here, he's going to have an opportunity to receive an outstanding education that he can take somewhere and develop a career, not just a job, but we want them to work towards a career, something that they do over an extended period, and try one way or the other, try to make a difference in this world, in this society, in their neighborhood, in their community, whatever the case may be. Try to make a positive difference. And we feel at Elizabeth City State University, home of the Vikings, that they can do that. So every year we're looking for athletic and academic help us achieve those goals, and that's what we achieve every year.
Sounds good. What's the upcoming season going to look like for you guys? I know we are dealing with the COVID. You know, you guys ready? You got ready to make a championship run, or what's your Of course, always you want to make a championship run, but what
of course, every year we want to make a championship run. This COVID virus, when it first started back way early March, I told my guys, I don't think we're going to have a spring ball because this thing is very, very serious. This COVID virus is personal. It became even more personal to me because I lost a loved one today. I've lost teammates.
Sorry to hear that, Coach. Sorry to hear that. My condolences.
Thank you. I've lost teammates to this. I've lost friends to this. This is real. Okay. I love football. I do. But I love my loved ones more. If you had to put a choice on it. So this thing is real. We didn't get a chance to do spring ball because of this. I haven't seen in person my student athletes in over 90 days. So back when we were doing it, we were working out. We were getting stronger. They were learning more about football. We were getting ready. I'm not the only coach that's feeling this way about it, but you know, we were unable to do all those things that we've been used to doing because of this virus. I'm concerned about it. You know, when I talk to my coaches about conditioning, I always talk about give the kid the benefit of the doubt. What I mean by that is, if a kid is tired, give him the benefit of the doubt. It's not always about his conditioning or lack of conditioning. There can be other things involved. The number one thing is we want them all to start practice. We want them all to end practice healthy. So we're not going to push no one to the point where something unfortunate happens with them. And I'm taking this COVID virus the same way. I don't know. I follow the medical advice. Even before this thing came out, I always talk to them about washing their hands, keeping your hygiene clean, controlling how you sneeze, where you sneeze, and what you do when you sneeze, and things of that sort. Always showering after practice. I'm the guy that showers before practice. Okay. They come out of my office. They always a bottle of hand sanitizer on my desk. This was way before this thing came out. So I've always had those practices. And after every practice, I would tell them, go get yourself a nice hot shower. You smell better, you feel better. Okay. But now this thing is out and it's real. And you don't know, I don't know how you're going to react to it if you get it. I'm going to react to it if I get it. So I'm trying to do everything I can to prevent the spread, if you will.
Hey, Coach, before we wrap up, tell us a little bit about your stint there, what the team was doing in the way of wins and losses, and how y'all have progressed with that program.
Well, one of the things that happened with me, I got hired in April of 18. That was spring ball. So I got no spring ball. We had a couple of weeks, didn't get all my staff on board until August of that, a couple of days before we came into training camp. We went on through that year. When I first got here, we had 38 players on the team. I was able to bring in about 89 to that training camp. We were a work in progress. We won our first game, then lost the remainder of them. Lost them due to we had the storms that came through and canceled a bunch of games for us. So we had to go being with our kids for a couple of weeks, and they came back. We did the best we can. Last year we came back. We had a limited spring practice because we didn't have offensive linemen. And again, these are areas that this is what I inherited. And so we've been working extremely hard to try to make this culture around, bring in the proper guys and teach them the proper way. But it's hard to do it when you don't practice. This year we were going to have our first full practice, spring practice, our first spring ball. And we get hit with COVID virus. So we're still in the process of trying to learn our program. I've been here, I'm going to start my third season, okay, if it happens. We've had a half a year of spring practice. Spring practice is the time that you teach, that you learn about your kids learn about you. You don't have to worry about the schedules of a game. And we just haven't had the opportunity to do that. It's been unfortunate, but that's where we are. So we're still in the process of developing this program. And until we're able to teach our kids a full session, we don't know. Just like now, I don't know what kind of team we have because last time we played was in November. So the thing we were going to work on this spring, we didn't work on. So we're going to work on them if we get around to that this summer. But this COVID virus, man, is real because you got a bunch of schools now who have way more resources than we have, and they're testing positive.
Yep.
And what are you to do when you start getting a bunch of kids test positive? Okay. Football is a contact sport. You're going to try to teach it like it's not during this period, but it's a contact sport. And eventually you're going to start playing games and you're going to have contact with other teams that are coming from different parts of the country or the state or wherever you're called. And they're going back to different people. So it's going to be tough. My main objective is to try to keep all our kids healthy, where we can give them a chance to continue to grow in life and develop themselves. And this here is a serious roadblock for us. And we're going to try to deal with it as best we can. We'll follow all the protocols with it. If that don't work, we're going to have to make some tough decisions.
Hey, Coach Glasgow, what parting words would you have for Coach or questions?
Coach, I appreciate your time today, man. Always good to talk to brothers like yourself, man, and coaches across the country, man, and make good connections. So thank you for being on today. Some great information for our student athletes. And, if you need any information on any guys here in this area, man, don't hesitate to reach out. I'll try to help you out the best I can to get you some hogs down there in those trenches for you.
Yes, sir. We appreciate it. I appreciate it. Elizabeth City State University, home of the Vikings, appreciate it. And anytime we can talk about our program and our institution, this is a great institution. We're welcome to do so. The one thing that I'll tell you again, your kids come with us, whoever they are, they're gonna get a quality education on and off the field.
Hey, Coach Jones, what would be your parting words for prospective athletes, parents, and your alumni?
Well, I'll start with my alumni. Know and understand that we're working hard, extremely hard, to put a team on the field that you can be proud of. Okay? Resources are always going to be a challenge for us. So if anybody can help in that area, we'd be honored. We'd be honored if you would. Student athletes who come here, parents who come here, know that you'll have a coach that is number one priority is your student athlete, his education on and off the field. Every day we try to teach our kids something about life. Football, through football, because football is the means we hold their attention. But we're sneaking life lessons in there. And some of them recognize them, some don't until they get away from them and they go, aha, I see what you're trying to teach me, Coach. Yes. Okay, it's not too late. You learn. You learn what we're trying to teach you. So we're trying to do that on and off the field. Because these lessons that we're teaching, they're gonna apply in real life. They're gonna help you get through. They're gonna help you advance. They're gonna help you work your way up that ladder, if you will, in real life. We need quality student athletes who want to come here, not just because of football. It's a big part, but not just because of football, but want to get a quality education, and they can go out and somehow change the world, change the communities that they're involved in a positive way. And that's what we're here. That's what we're all about, is being a Viking here. We want you to work hard, achieve your goals, and go out there and extend these lessons that you've been given, where you can help change the world and change someone else's life.
Hey, Coach, it's a pleasure having you on the show. And as we always end, when you invest in your community, you're really just investing in yourself. Good night.
This program is brought to you by the City of Fountains Coaches Association.
This program is brought to you by